The city lights sparkled behind them like scattered diamonds as Emma sat in her wheelchair on the rooftop terrace. Her hands trembled slightly as she smoothed down her pale pink dress. At 28, she had learned to read people quickly, and right now she could feel eyes watching her from across the room. Her co-workers Sarah and Mike stood near the bar whispering and glancing her way. Emma knew exactly what this was. Another one of their so-called favors. Another setup designed to make themselves feel good about including the girl in the wheelchair. She had almost stayed home tonight, but something in Sarah's voice on the phone had been different, more insistent, more secretive. Now she understood why. Across the terrace, a man in a charcoal gray suit was walking toward her. He moved with quiet confidence, his dark hair catching the ambient light. Emma recognized him immediately. James Morrison, the CEO of Morrison Industries. 35 years old, and according to every business magazine, one of the most eligible bachelors in the city. Her heart sank. This was worse than she thought. James pulled up a simple wooden chair and sat down facing her. His brown eyes met hers without that flicker of pity she had grown to hate, without the awkward overcompensation or the studied casualness that screamed, "I am trying so hard not to notice your wheelchair." He simply looked at her, really looked at her. "I'm guessing you didn't know about this either," he said quietly. Emma blinked. "You mean the setup? Is that what this is?" A small smile played at the corner of his mouth. "I thought maybe I was being ambushed for a charity donation. Your friends over there look very pleased with themselves." Despite herself, Emma laughed. It came out shorter than she intended, but it was genuine. They mean well. The worst schemes usually come from people who mean well, James said. He leaned back slightly, his posture relaxed. "So here we are, two people who didn't ask to be here, trapped in what I assume they're calling a blind date. Though I have to say the view is spectacular. The city lights are beautiful," Emma agreed, looking past him toward the skyline. "I meant you," James said simply. Emma's breath caught. Not because of the compliment, but because of how he said it. Matter of fact. No dramatic pause waiting for her reaction. No performance. Just truth delivered quietly. "I don't need your kindness," she heard herself say. The words came out sharper than intended. "I get enough of that already." James nodded slowly. "I wasn't offering kindness. I was stating a fact. You have remarkable eyes. They're the color of slate after rain. And you're sitting here in a dress that probably took you an hour to choose, wearing your armor like you expect a battle. I recognize that look because I wear the same armor every day, just in a different form." Emma stared at him. "What do you know about armor?" "More than you might think." James glanced down at his hands. "My mother had MS multiple sclerosis. I watched her go from walking to a cane to a walker to a wheelchair over 10 years. And I watched the world change how it saw her, like she became less somehow, less intelligent, less capable, less worthy of being seen as a whole person." His voice carried weight, the kind that comes from experience, not borrowed sympathy. "She taught me something important," James continued. "She said people will always make assumptions. The only question is whether you let those assumptions define you or whether you define yourself." Emma felt something shift in her chest. What happened to her? "She passed away 3 years ago. Pneumonia." James's jaw tightened slightly. "But she lived every day on her terms right up until the end. She was fiercer in that wheelchair than most people are with full use of their bodies." They sat in silence for a moment. Behind them, Emma could hear Sarah's nervous giggle. She could imagine the scene, her co-workers anxiously watching to see if their manufactured moment was working. "They did this because they pity me," Emma said quietly. "Sarah thinks I'm lonely. Mike thinks I need saving. They arranged this whole thing, probably told you some story about wanting to help their friend." Actually, James said, they told me you were brilliant, that you're the best data analyst in the company, and that you deserve more recognition than you get. Mike said you solved a problem last month that saved the firm $2 million, but your manager took the credit. Emma's eyes widened. He told you that? He did. And then he asked if I might consider hiring you at Morrison Industries. He said you were wasting your talent where you are. The date thing, that was Sarah's addition. Mike tried to talk her out of it apparently, but she insisted romance was what you needed. That sounds like Sarah, Emma said. She felt tears prickling behind her eyes. She thinks everyone needs romance. Do you? James asked. Need romance, I mean. Emma looked at him directly. I need be seen. Really seen. Not as inspiration. Not as a project. Not as someone to feel sorry for. Just as Emma. A woman who happens to use a wheelchair the way someone else might happen to wear glasses or have curly hair. James nodded slowly. Then let me see you, Emma. Tell me something real. Not what you think I want to hear. Something true. Emma took a breath. I'm tired, she said. I'm tired of being brave all the time. Of proving I'm capable. Of making other people comfortable with my existence. Some days I just want to be angry or sad or ordinary without it meaning something profound about disability or courage or the human spirit. That sounds exhausting, James said. It is. Emma felt the tears spilling now. She didn't wipe them away. I had an accident 2 years ago. Car crash. And everyone keeps telling me how strong I am. How inspiring. But I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm holding myself together with wire and willpower. James reached out slowly, telegraphing his movement before his hand covered hers. His palm was warm. You don't have to be strong right now. Not with me. And something in Emma broke open. Not in a dramatic way. Just a quiet release. Like finally setting down something heavy. They talked for 2 hours. About James's mother and her wicked sense of humor. About Emma's love of mystery novels and how she'd read everything Agatha Christie ever wrote. About their shared hatred of networking events and small talk. About the weight of expectations and the freedom of being honest. Sarah and Mike eventually left looking confused. They had expected either triumph or disaster. Not two people sitting close together, talking like old friends reunited. When the night air grew cold, James took off his suit jacket without asking and draped it over Emma's shoulders. It smelled like cedar and something expensive. I meant what I said about the job, James told her as the evening wound down. Morrison Industries could use someone with your skills. No pity, no favor, just business. Think about it. I will, Emma said. And Emma, James stood up and looked down at her with those thoughtful brown eyes. I'd like to see you again. Not because your friends set this up. Not because of some misguided sense of charity. But because I haven't had a conversation this real in years. You made me remember what it feels like to talk to someone who doesn't want anything from me except honesty. Emma smiled. A real smile that reached her eyes. I'd like that too.